Oh, even better. All right. You ready, Angharad?
I think so. Do we make an announcement to everyone that it's happening, or just in this room?
Your camera's all ready to go.
Let's all go.
All right.
Camera.
We're ready for our next topic of the day, and this is a topic that I am excited about, but I know nothing about. And we have Angharad Picton. She is an intuitive astrologist and grief alchemist, and she is going to be talking about Pluto in Aquarius, humanity's cosmic shift. So help me welcome Angharad. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. As Grant said, my name is Angharad Picton. I'm an intuitive astrologist and grief alchemist. And as someone who's just very deeply and fascinated by the sky, I wanted to kind of share my passions and some of the insights that have been kind of flowing into me. I've been doing astrology for probably about 5 years. And really, astrology has been a life companion for me and kind of supported me through my transformative journeys the last several years, and have really been a support system and network to guide me through those processes. And so Savannah had read an article called Pluto in Aquarius on social media and reached out and thought that you all might be interested in hearing about Pluto in Aquarius and the cosmic shifts that are happening within this human cycle that we're sharing together. I'm going to use my notes. There's a beautiful shot of Pluto here for your viewing pleasure. And so I'll share a little bit about this. Pluto in Aquarius was a download that came to me. It woke me up 3 o'clock in the morning of the election results. And so as I woke up, all this information started coming in about Pluto in Aquarius. And I was like, yeah, I'll remember. And they were like, no, get up, take notes right now. And it's really powerful because I did, and then I started posting, and then all of a sudden Savannah found me. And so then I know that this is kind of guided by spirit, and there's something here about this particular energy that wants to be shared. And apparently I'm the vehicle in which to share that with you. So I just want to say that the other day I also asked for a sign. I was like, tell me if I'm on the right path, show me an eagle. And so of course, I hadn't seen it like 24 hours. I'm still looking for this eagle, and I can't find it anywhere. Last night, I show up, and then I come into this room, and there's an eagle. And then I go into this other room, and then there's an eagle. And then in my hotel room, there's eagles all over my bedroom. And then apparently this is like the town of the eagles, right? So I had no idea, but I'm supposed to be here, y'all. So I'm grateful that you are also here sharing this experience with me. So, today's talk comes from my own journey with grief, transformation, and discovery. And it's a journey of, I lost my partner 12 months ago, October, on the full moon and eclipse in October of last year. 2 years before that, I lost my daughter's father in 2022. And this journey was a catalyst for my own awakening and transformation. And it was astrology that was able to help me navigate this very, very intense time of grief and loss. And so the wisdom that's kind of coming through today, what I believe to be is my legacy and what I've drawn from the experience of losing 2 of the most important men really in my life. And of course, grief never goes away, but I've been able to alchemize this experience, this density of grief and loss, and alchemize it into something that's beyond me and bigger than me, and here to be of service to something, to someone. So whatever I share here today, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if you go home with one little nugget today, like that's a winner, you know? So enjoy this presentation. So a bit about astrology. So in my own interpretation, astrology provides the soul's blueprint for this lifetime. So this blueprint information includes information that's being brought in from past lives, your present and your future, and it merges into the moment that we meet. And then from this, I'm able to look at a birth chart and draw information that your soul wants you to know in this moment. There's 1,000 different directions that I can go in. And really, it's what's most present in this moment. So since the dawn of civilization, astrology has been used to help navigate our daily lives, patterns, seasons, cycles, the cycle of the moon, the new moon and the full moon. We're all familiar with that. And so we kind of govern ourselves according to those cycles. As women, our menstrual cycles are governed by the moon. And so the ancients were able to determine when to travel, when to plant, when to harvest, when to rest, and even to navigate the weather that was happening, the climate that was happening in those days. And of course, they didn't have all this light pollution, right? So they were able to be in this direct communication with the sky and have this relationship and be able to just be in this relationship and receive the wisdom that the sky had to offer. They depended on that. And of course, now we have to search really, really hard. We have to come way out of the cities to be able to make that connection. But there's other ways that we can make that connection, just simply through maybe looking at your sun sign or your rising sign or your moon. And so I truly believe that when we're deeply connected with the cosmos, we come into this alignment. We come into this direct relationship with why we're here and what we're here for. And this is part of my offering and also the legacy that I am also living out. So let's talk about Pluto. So Pluto is a planet. There's several planets. Everybody has Pluto in their chart. Everybody has the zodiac signs in their chart. So this energy influences all of us, and albeit in different ways. Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth cycles. It's the evolution of consciousness. It's seen as the seed of the soul. So what Pluto's essence is about is confronting what is hidden beneath the surface. It's underground. So Pluto might say to you, if it could speak to you, is the only way out is through it. And we've probably heard that before. Pluto's influence is very deliberate. It's very slow. Its orbit takes around 12 to 32 years in each zodiac sign. So that's a whole orbit cycle of 248 years. So that's pretty significant to travel through the 12 signs of the zodiac. And of course, throughout our lifetime, Pluto is going to be activating different areas of our life at different ages and stages. And so when Pluto does activate certain points in our chart, we're invited to release what no longer serves us, transmute pain into power. And basically, from a collective standpoint, it begins to reshape the societal structures that we live in and amongst. So Pluto in Capricorn. So let's see, I wanted to share with you. Sorry, I was reading from the wrong. Okay, Capricorn. So maybe just pausing for a moment and just take a moment to maybe reflect on how transformation has showed up in your life. And some of the things that I'm saying to you, maybe you can connect to a dot of where you've gone through these moments of challenge that has been an awakening to your own transformative journey. And that's probably Pluto, just in the background, like nudging you. Come on, it's time. It's time for change. Are you ready? Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's quiet until it becomes loud, and then you're left with no option but to make that change. That's the power of Pluto. So in the zodiac sign of Capricorn, Capricorn is all about ambition, vision. It's about discipline, perseverance, leadership, responsibility. It's very grounded and very practical, dependable. Capricorn's all about legacy and resilience, just kind of like the mountain goat that's climbing up the steep hill. Capricorns can have this tendency to rise above difficulty. I have 4 planets in Capricorn. Go figure. And so the shadow aspect of Capricorn is overly rigid, work obsessed. They focus on structure and achievement. Pessimism, fear of failure, worthiness is an issue. Emotional detachment. So sometimes they can just say things off the cuff and somebody be like, oh, that hurt. And Capricorn's like, well, I just told you the truth, you know? And so it can be a little bitey like that. There tends to be maybe sometimes an overemphasis on status, material wealth, control, dominance, self-imposed pressures. So I don't know if you can relate to any of that, but just know that Capricorn is like in your chart and it's poking some of these things. It's not right, wrong, good or bad, it just is. Okay, so let's bring that together. So Pluto in Capricorn first activated in 2008 and it stayed there until 2024. So because Capricorn represents discipline, responsibility, structures, and systems, it governs societal, governmental traditions and political environment. So the keywords for Capricorn are I use. So since 2028, Capricorn has been responsible for dismantling all these outdated structures and systems. The events of 2008 include the financial crisis, movements like Occupy Wall Street, so systemic shifts in leadership, justice, and wealth distribution. And we're still reeling from that right now. It's all about power and greed. So this is the side of Pluto that wants to be unearthed and delivered to you to say, this isn't working. This isn't for everybody. There's the few that are the wealthy and the rest of us have to just kind of agree, even if we don't agree, right? And so the historical parallel, the last time that Pluto was in Capricorn was 1762 to 1778. There we saw the American Revolution and the Industrial Revolutions. So these were significant transformative times where economies were shifted and we reshaped traditional power structures, kind of echoing the themes of this last current cycle. And I wrote an article about this when Hurricane Helene hit Asheville. So if you choose, head onto my website and just kind of have a look at that and see about some of the contrast or the comparisons of what we're seeing now with LA, for example. So another invitation to pause and reflect. Think about your life since 2008 and just go on a little journey, whether it's now or later, and just consider like, what was I doing in 2008? Who was I then? Like, what has been my evolutionary cycle and my journey of who I am now and where I'm headed? So it'll be a really interesting place to just kind of do that own reflection and maybe journal on it, but it's a big one. It's a really, really big one. Is everybody doing okay? There's a lot of information here, so I want to keep checking in, okay? Yes. Yes, I did. Yes. And with that comes knowledge. Like, first of all, just becoming aware of something gives us that power back so then we can make different choices. And in any given moment, we're faced with choice, right? And so so if the shadow of Pluto is power, what we reclaim is, on the other side of that, is that we empower. Like, that's the medicine that we can draw from Pluto if we're in alignment with the energies of Pluto. But of course, it's going to go in the spectrum, the full spectrum, the full contrast of experience. And as we know, contrast is the best teacher. So I'm going to slide into Pluto's transition into Aquarius. So let's talk about Aquarius. Everybody's got Aquarius in their chart. And so Aquarius is the water bearer. It's interesting because it's an air sign. It's the humanitarian. It's the higher mind, universal principles, technology, the future, the knower, the eccentric, the scientist. Think about freedom and liberty, groups, innovation, UFOs, advanced technologies, universal principles, anything to do with space. Aquarius wants us to revolutionize society with the highest ideals for the good of all concerned, not just for the few. So, of course, Pluto's move into Aquarius, bringing a shift from Capricorn's grounded pragmatism to Aquarian's visionary future and energy. So Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus. Everybody has Uranus in their chart. You could equate Uranus with the midlife crisis. So the midlife crisis usually kicks off around the ages of 38 to 44. It's a thing. And it's Uranus. It's your Uranus opposition. That's the technical term. but that's the equivalent of your midlife crisis. Uranus comes in and it wants to be a catalyst and remove anything that is non-essential, really, like just allowing for you to be present with what is. So a lot of the times when we go through that midlife crisis, we get to a point of like, I got the job, I got the qualifications, I got the family, I got the marriage, I got the kids, but I'm still not happy. It still doesn't feel right, or I've changed. This is no longer what I need. So the midlife crisis comes in, wants to kind of put a forest fire to anything that's obsolete, so it can catalyze you into the change that's meant to be right now. So that's the Uranus opposition. I was like, oh my God, it's a thing for everybody. And, you know, sometimes people poo-poo the, you know, the midlife crisis, but it's a total transit in the astrology realm. So the last time that Pluto Aquarius cycle happened, so Pluto moved into Aquarius in November, just around the election time, okay? 1778 to 1798 birthed the revolution movements like the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, seeding new systems of thought and governance. So Aquarius, so where Capricorn says, what do we need to break down? Aquarius says, what comes next? What's now? What's the future? How can we envision a world that values innovation and collaboration over control and separation and division? We doing okay? Okay. Okay, so the key themes of Pluto in Aquarius. So to me, Pluto in Aquarius feels like a message from the future. So imagine it as an ancient buried wisdom that's rising to the surface like a volcanic eruption, revealing these hidden treasures. Innovation, technology, advances in AI, energy, and medicine will reshape our lives. But technology isn't limited to the external creations. Let's consider the advanced technology that exists within each of us. Our body's ability to adapt, to heal, to connect, to universal wisdom. Kind of like the lady was talking before, connecting to your gut, your intuition, the center of wisdom. We tap into the untapped potential of our minds and of our consciousness. Collective evolution. This transit challenges to ask bold questions. So what outdated belief systems are we ready to now release? What truths are stirring within us that are waiting to be reclaimed? So another invitation, what role do you see yourself playing in building this future or co-creating this future with the communities that you find yourself in? What unique gifts reside within you that you can offer to this collective? So I come here to the 3 a.m. download on the morning of November 6th. And so I'm just kind of going to read it as how it came in. So Pluto in Aquarius feels like an immense surge of ancient and buried wisdom rising to the surface, a kind of a volcanic eruption of knowledge and consciousness from the depths of the earth and of our soul. Pluto, the planet of transformation, wants to excavate what lies hidden. And in Aquarius, the sign of forward thinking, innovation, and collective consciousness, this process becomes cosmic. It's as if something intensely powerful and deeply embedded is stirring within, something that's long forgotten, yet advanced in nature. This hidden wisdom, buried by past cycles of destruction, of greed, of power, of control, carries this primal power of the earth and visionary insight of the cosmos. With Pluto in Aquarius, we're experiencing a profound awakening of truths that humanity may have been too afraid or completely unprepared to understand before. These buried insights now come to light, asking us to evolve, not just individually, but collectively. The journey can feel intense, sometimes chaotic, but purposeful. A stirring within that compels us to reshape our systems, to question our established norms, and to build something radically new from the ashes of the old. This energy invites us to reconnect with the parts of ourselves and our history that hold power and knowledge, aligning with inner and collective wisdom that feels timeless, yet incredibly advanced. It's a process of remembering, of reclaiming the parts of ourselves that we may not know and we have lost. Just as volcanic eruptions renew the earth, the Plutonian shift calls us to let go of what is stagnant and to embrace what's waiting to be awakened, bringing forth a future that honors the resilience and the wisdom of the past. Pluto, the earth, deeply hidden, unconscious, subconscious, precious resources, precious materials, powerful beyond consciousness, is now being unearthed, uprooted to come into the known, a knowledge whose time has come to be revealed. Ancient knowledge excavated to reclaim what humanity needs right now to move forward, to evolve radically. These are the missing pieces of our civilization, of our belonging, of our roots, of our knowing of who we are, where we came from, and where we're headed. The future meets us right now in the present. So that was my 3 o'clock in the morning little exchange with Pluto and Aquarius. So yes, please.
Did you have any idea before this that something like this might happen? Any kind of indication? And after that happened, how did you feel after that happened?
It was kind of confirmation and validation for me because I've been on this pretty intense journey since, for a while, but 2020 when my ex-husband got diagnosed with cancer, and we were very close. He was my best friend. We co-parented my 17-year-old daughter. He was in Texas. And of course, there was things happening, right? We had COVID. Like that was a sign. What we experienced through COVID was a significant sign that something needed to evolve. And the interesting thing is that we had to go inwards. We had to come back into our own spaces and places to kind of do this life review. We had to leave everything out there, and that was necessary, that separation. And the only way to change is to have some kind of crisis happen. It's the only way forward. We can't, if it was easier, we'd all be ascending, living in paradise and just sipping margaritas or whatever, right? That's not how transformation works. So to me, it was, so Pluto has been sitting, I've been in a transit of Pluto since 2008. My daughter's birth in 2007 was the catalyst of my own spiritual awakening. I didn't know that then. In fact, I only realized that a month ago. I had a C-section. It was really, really intense. And the lessons and my healing process from that birth has awakened me slowly and put me into these situations where I've been forced to evolve. And rapidly, not everybody goes on like an intense journey, and some do, and this is where you seek resources and support. So when this came in, so when Pluto moved into Aquarius, I felt kind of relief because Pluto wasn't so intensely like gouging out my deepest wounds, because that's what it feels like when you lose somebody, right? Like a part of me left after those deaths. I mean, to have 2 deaths in a row, I was broken, I didn't know. And I knew things spiritually. I know how people, I communicate with the other realm. I had all this information, but how my body physically responded to grief was something I never anticipated. It really, it broke me open. And so when this kind of information came through, I was like, oh, I've come to the other side, and now it's time to teach. I'm being given this information as part of my legacy to share. And I'm on this journey, I'm forever this student, right? So this is an ongoing story for me. So I felt elated because finally I wasn't in that, like the intensity of Pluto in Capricorn, sitting so close to me, like just constantly poking me to, bringing these deaths, like a metaphorical death, a symbolic death, to me, because I can't tell you how many lifetimes I've lived in like 3 months, right? I don't know who, this is part of what Pluto does, especially when it sits on your sun, which is your sun sign is your birth sign, right? It's the day you were born and that sign. When it sits on your sun, the sun represents your identity. So basically it was like setting a match to my entire identity and everything I'd ever known. And from there, we know about the Phoenix rising is that it rebuilds and gets rebirth from the ashes. So I could relate a lot because that was my lived experience. and then coming out of the flames and going, okay, who the fuck am I now? Like, what am I doing? And so it was these pieces of information that were like, okay, who I am is based on the opportunities that are coming my way, the people that are coming into my life. They're going to start helping me rebuild who I am. And at some point, I'll arrive at where I'm supposed to be. And that could take a lifetime, as far as I know. I'm just here to enjoy it right now, you know? Yes. Yeah, thank you. Great question. Okay, so we'll move. I'm mindful of time. There's always so much content and I don't want to overwhelm. I want to be helpful. So let's talk about cosmic catalysts and staying resourced. And I realize I just want to acknowledge, you know, I'm talking about some pretty dense, heavy stuff. And so, and of course, I'm stood here with a smile. This is part of the passion or the awakened nature in which my own transformation, my own rebirth has activated. And now there's something about grief, and this is why I call myself a grief alchemist, is that I blend astrology with grief, and I look to astrology to see how can we navigate the intense journey of loss and grief. We're all grieving, whether it's divorce, loss of a job, moving countries, we lose our homes, we lose a pet. Like, grief is who we are. It's something that we need to move through, and yet why is it so damn hard for us, you know? And most people, you know, turn to the drink, they turn to something that can help numb that expression. And I did, you know, I used alcohol as a way to numb myself, and then I would do the work, right? And so I was compassionate with that. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a drink to take the edge off. I wasn't a raging alcoholic, but it was a consistent tool that I was leaning into until then I got an awakening of that, which was like a pre-diabetes notice. And I was like, oh shit, okay, here's another kick in the ass, Angharad. Like, that you can't do this. This is not the way to deal with grief. And that was like a year and a half ago, where I was like, okay, me and alcohol can no longer have this relationship. And from there, the growth has been exponential because, again, it's like, okay, I don't want to die. I'm here. I'm living, right? So why not make the most of it and find the purpose and the legacy of that? And so when I use astrology, combine it with people's grief, when people come to me, they share their grief stories, we look at the chart and we see, let's have a look at the gift that that grief is offering you now. Because if you're still here, it means you've still got stuff to do. You still have a legacy and a gift to find, and we all have it. It's just, how do we identify it? How do we feel it? And this is why we've got all these awesome human beings here that are all stepping into their gifts and listening to their medicine, and they have the opportunity to share it at awesome events like this in awesome communities. And then we get to meet new people, and then we get to add another resource to our tool belt, right? There's things out there, and I believe if you're here, you're in the right place in any given moment. So another thing that's kind of waking us up is cosmic accelerants like solar flares and the Schumann resonance. Do you want to raise your hand if you've heard about solar flares or cosmic accelerants? Okay, all right, there's a few of us. So I'm just going to give a little, just to let you know for those who don't. So basically, a solar flare is a sudden and intense burst of energy from the sun's surface. It's caused by the release of magnetic energy stored in the sun's atmosphere. Solar flares emit radiation across the electromagnetic field spectrum, from visible light to X-rays and gamma rays. They can disrupt communication systems, GPS, and power grids on Earth if strong enough. Not so long ago, there was that time when everything shut down. Like, I think that like airlines lost all their computer systems, bank systems went down. It was like several months ago. Like, there was a good, Facebook went down and everybody was like, oh my God, what just happened? You went to Macy's and they were like, the computer system's not working. We can't take anything. Like, that was a result of a massive high level X-class solar flare. So that's the impact. So imagine if that can have the influence on like something like this. Imagine what our bodies are feeling during that time. So solar flares are also, we've been seeing a lot of the northern lights, probably the last year, we've seen more and had more access to the northern lights than ever before across the globe. And so These are the results. These are the geomagnetic storms that are a result of the solar flares. The Schumann resonance is earthbound. So solar flares sky, earthbound is the Schumann resonance. And this refers to a set of naturally occurring electromagnetic field frequencies that resonate in the Earth's atmosphere between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. Basically, it's the Earth's heartbeat, okay? And its primary focus or frequency pulses at around 7.83 hertz, which is the harmonics. So you might find music, for example, binaural beats that operate at a certain frequency. That it's like sound healing, and it just does something. It helps us ground, it helps us connect. So this is kind of what the Earth is, we're connecting to here. These resonances are caused by lightning strikes, generating electromagnetic waves that cycle around the Earth itself. So the electromagnetic field is related to human health, and in some spiritual practices too. It's tied to physics and atmospheric studies. So we can't deny that this stuff is happening. The impact on us results in anxiety, insomnia, can't sleep, exhaustion, vivid dreams, shifts in perception, mystery illness, inflammation in the body, depression, old stuff, emotional wounds coming up. It's kind of like, oh my God, I thought I dealt with that. Like, why is that back up? It's the solar flares. It's the electromagnetic field forcing this evolutionary experience for us to wake up and deal with the stuff so we can get on with living the path of what we're here to do. And interestingly enough, there was one that hit in October, and we hadn't had a solar flare that intense since 2017. So we had a lot of activity in 2024. 2025, in less than 24 hours, last week, we had 3 X-class solar flares. This 2025, we're going to see an exponential increase in that level of activity. So notice, you can get an app like NASA offers an app where you can just download, see when it hits. When you start attuning, like I had it the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I feel super nauseous. I all of a sudden just felt really, really ill. And I was like, I wonder if there was a solar flare that just happened. And sure as shit, I turned on my phone. There was a woman that tracks it, Pam Youngans. And I was like, there was a solar flare that it hit at like, 7:30 p.m. And I felt it. And I've kind of been attuned to it for a while, but it's that for those of us that are particularly sensitive, we feel that impact. So that's an invitation: rest, hydrate, notice what you're putting in your body. It's a very purging, cleansing effect. So there's another accountability happening. Take care of your bodies, take care of your mind, take care of your spirit. Keep the vessel in all of those areas clear, Otherwise, it amplifies the intensity of this experience that we're having, that we have no control over, but we do have control over this. So solar flares, this is a download on solar flares, the accelerants of consciousness. So each solar flare that bursts from the sun feels like an urgent message, a transmission of light designed to accelerate our evolution on Earth. These bursts of energy shake our foundations. They illuminate hidden karma, repressed emotions, and outdated patterns. We are being urged to heal, to expand, and to awaken more swiftly than ever before. So in radical times, this means resourcing is essential. So engaging in practices that nourish your spirit, cultivating healthy relationships and experiences that ignite and give yourself permission to reside in your authentic self. Reconnecting to ancient wisdoms, grounding yourself in daily rituals, and whatever else feels true. Like, just tap in, like, what brings you joy? That's it. That's where you start. The other piece of this that's activating for me is in ancient times, humanity aligned, as we talked about, deeply with the rhythms of the cosmos. And of course, I shared this before, but the phases of the moon, eclipse cycles, watch out for the eclipse cycles. Today, the North Node, which follows the ecliptic, the North Node is about our evolutionary journey. It's the soul's North Star compass. That's what we want to put our attention on. The North Node moved into the sign of Pisces. Eclipses have an 18-month cycle, So we're in this journey with Pisces on the north node and Virgo on the south node. And so whenever there's a full moon, that's typically when, or we'll have an eclipse around that time. I have the dates. I could give it to you if you want to come and see me afterwards. So Pisces is the mystical. It's union, it's empathy, it's intuition, it's the spiritual realm, it's oneness, it's consciousness itself. So basically for everybody, the North Node, aka Evolutionary Soul's Path, is inviting us to step into this period of spiritual awakening. Whether you want it or not, it's happening, whether it's super subtle or whether it's kind of super in your face, right? So back to the ancients, much of this connection has been severed to these living sky. So Pluto in Aquarius invites us to remember. So how do we reweave ourselves into the fabric of the universe? As cosmic visitors, we're called to navigate this evolution with integrity, with curiosity, recognizing the profound interconnectedness between humanity and the cosmos, the earth, solar flares, celestial's pattern remind us transformation isn't just personal, it's cosmic and it's collective. I want to talk about stones and ancient technologies a little bit, which is all about remembering what we've lost. So this is some of the big work that I'm kind of doing or stepping into. So deep in the earth, stones hold memories, timeless information, left for us by beings who understood our need to remember. These stones, along with ancient structures, contain vibrations and knowledge from ancient civilizations like the Maya, the Egyptians, and so on and so forth. The Native Americans, they reached a certain level of awareness, a high level of awareness. And so as we continue this evolutionary journey, we may find that these lost places and spaces and technologies begin to reemerge, teaching us what we forgot long ago and how to live in harmony and to evolve consciously. The other part of my are we good? Are we good? Everyone okay? Okay. The other part of the download that came in was an invitation for me to consider this idea of a parallel earth, a place of a higher vibration where harmony with nature, with peace, and sacred reciprocity were the norms. This vision serves as a beacon and a reminder that a different way of living and being is possible. And Pluto in Aquarius nudges us to remember that this higher vibrational experience and existence isn't just a dream. It's a possibility, and it's embedded deep within our own timeline. And it's waiting to unfold just as we evolve. So as I've mentioned, my legacy in these transformative times is through the offering of the wisdom of my own lived experience and my personal study and this soul-driven study I'm on of how to navigate my own transformation and share it as I'm in it, you know? So across the earth, we're witnessing the emergence of new truths from ancient sites, deeper connections with celestial beings, heightened UFO activity. This increase correlates with the notable energetic shifts, such as the solar flares, the Schumann resonance, the geomagnetic storms, manifested in the phenomena of northern lights. And I'm curious about the paranormal folks, what you've experienced in terms of an increase in energy and presence, and what kind of energies are beginning to show up, and what will continue to show up as we step into this time of rapid evolution. I want to share a couple of offerings here. Let me grab some tea. So one of the offerings that I was inspired to step into, which was as a result of the Pluto in Aquarius, was my third spiritual tour to Peru, and that's happening in 2000. Sorry, we're here. It's 2025 in Harris. That's happening in August, and the theme of this spiritual tour is called A Journey to Remembering the Ancient Future. So this journey is deeply connected to this Pluto in Aquarius that's kind of shows up for me, and will serve as an activation and an awakening to our highest potential. We'll be exploring sites like the Nazca lines came in really thick and fast for me about a month ago, and I've been researching to find out why the Nazca lines want me to bring a group of awesome people there. But I kind of have, when we think about the Nazca lines, these incredible, huge glyphs that contain messages. And who created them? We don't know. I mean, we may know. But this is the information that's kind of being revealed and that's calling to us. Things like, you know, what are the other crop circles? I was just listening to a podcast on crop circles too. There's more information coming through from these places and spaces. People are trying to connect. There's other beings that are trying to connect and coming into that relationship. And so part of this Peru trip, and Machu Picchu, of course, we'll go there, explore the energy. We're going to be working with the Quiro people, which is an ancient culture that I work with. The healers and shamans, and they come with us to the sites, and we do ceremony, we do ritual, we do healings, we do meditations, embodiment and integrations. And then, of course, there's wisdom that comes into each of us. I will say, my daughter, I took her to Peru last August, and she was just changed dramatically. Like I feel like just being on the land in Peru changes something within you. It awakens something that's long forgotten. And it's been incredible how to watch my daughter evolve in just her own being since August. So anyway, that's happening in August. If you're interested, come and chat with me about it. It's a small, intimate group that I'll be taking. And then, of course, my other offering is astrology readings. I'm going to be here today doing 25-minute readings for $44. You can come and check in with me, ask any questions, post this talk, or you can book a reading at another time. And then, of course, I offer the grief alchemy as well, bridging grief counseling and astrology, as I mentioned. So those are just some of the things that I'm kind of up to in my world. And so just to close, the invitation is to look to the sky with fresh eyes. And these ancient souls, tuning into the ancient soul that resides within, begin to tune into the truth that lies within you that's ready to be surfaced. And together we can honor the past, embrace the present, and dream the future awake together. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yay.
Thank you very much, Angharad. We have just going to take a very, very quick break, and then next we'll have Dawn Schultz. So feel
Thank
free to
you.
stretch, move around, hit the bathroom, and we'll get started in just a few.
Excellent. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm just over there. Just over there by the door. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Best of luck out there. Yeah.